In a move that's already shaking royal watchers worldwide, Buckingham Palace has issued a rare official statement just hours after Prince William held a late-night private meeting with King Charles III. The unscheduled visit, which reportedly lasted over 2 hours behind closed doors at Clarence House, was not listed on any royal diary. The palace's sudden response, concise, calculated, and unusually timed, confirmed William's upcoming engagements but left out any personal details. That silence has only fueled speculation. Experts say this kind of statement isn't just about scheduling. It's about sending a message. The timing, the tone, and the secrecy have royal insiders convinced. Something deeper is going on behind palace walls. The rare statement that shook royal circles. Buckingham Palace doesn't issue statements lightly. When one appears, especially after hours, royal watchers pay close attention. That's exactly what happened on the night of November 12, 2025, when a palace communiqué was released following a high-level meeting involving Prince William. The statement came after a private late-night session reportedly held with King Charles III, and within minutes, the royal world went into overdrive. Something was different. And this wasn't damage control, it was a signal. According to Geo News, the language used in the official statement was unlike anything seen in recent months. Palace releases are often vague, but this one was intentionally precise. It referenced William's upcoming duties, foreign engagements, and public appearances through December 2025, but avoided mention of any personal dynamic with his father or the wider family. This raised questions instantly. Why now, and why like this? Royal experts on networks like Sky News and BBC dissected every phrase. The phrase "coordinated continuity of royal responsibilities" stood out, a rare formulation that hinted at deeper discussions behind closed doors. Some even noted that the palace had not used the word collaboration, a term previously common in statements involving William and Charles. Its absence spoke volumes. And the timing? Unusual and clearly urgent. Within hours, speculation had spread online. Was this about succession planning? Policy disagreement? Public image crisis management? While the statement claimed all was routine, palace insiders suggested otherwise. The release itself was the message, and that message was clear. Something serious was unfolding, and the public was being quietly alerted without all the details. For the palace, this was controlled disruption. But what triggered this sudden shift? The answer seems to lie in the meeting that came just before it, a midnight conversation between Prince William and King Charles that wasn't listed in any official diary. No photographers, no press, no leaks, until the statement dropped. In the next section, we dig into that secretive meeting. When it happened, what's being said behind palace walls, and why it may have changed everything. The urgent midnight meeting. No one expected. According to sources close to Clarence House, Prince William arrived around 9:45 p.m. on November 11, 2025, staying well past midnight. His unannounced visit to King Charles III's private residence raised eyebrows across the royal press corps. There were no entries for it in the official calendar, no advance mention to photographers, and no standard post-meeting photo op. That secrecy alone was enough to send signals across the royal reporting landscape. By 8 a.m. the next day, reports began surfacing online that something significant had occurred. According to Geo News, aides described the atmosphere as intense but respectful. It was not the typical policy discussion or scheduling update. Instead, it was framed as a strategic conversation, language royal insiders use when the subject matter is serious. No staff were present during most of the conversation. That's rare. Typically, when William meets with the king, the private secretary or at least one aide is involved, especially when planning engagements, speeches, or charity work. But this time, the conversation was completely private, held in Charles's study, lasting over 2 hours. Reports suggest that only Camilla, queen consort, briefly joined near the end. Her presence, even briefly, adds weight, especially when it comes to family and future plans. So, what was discussed? Officially, the palace says ongoing matters of royal engagement and duty. But insiders hint that tensions over strategy, pace of modernization, and future roles, particularly with William's growing public profile, may have been on the table. The secrecy surrounding the meeting tells us this: it wasn't routine. It was a course-setting moment, one likely to influence the next phase of the monarchy's evolution. Following the meeting, all eyes turned to the statement. But this wasn't just about what the palace said. It was also about what they didn't. In Section 3, we break down the exact wording of the official release and how seasoned royal reporters believe it holds hidden messages. From subtle phrases to missing names, every detail of this announcement reveals more than it hides. What it did and didn't say. When the palace issued its statement at 6:45 a.m. on November 12, 2025, it was deliberately short, just under 200 words. But in royal communications, brevity doesn't mean simplicity. Every word is chosen. Every omission matters. And what this statement said and didn't say has become the center of intense scrutiny from palace reporters and royal language analysts alike. First, the statement outlined Prince William's upcoming schedule. It mentioned his visit to Scotland on November 18th, his speech at the UN Climate Forum in Geneva on November 23rd, and his return to Kensington Palace in early December 2025. But beyond those facts, the tone was clinical. No language of warmth, no mention of collaboration with King Charles, and notably, no family references. This was business, not bonding. Several royal analysts flagged the phrase, "The Prince of Wales continues in alignment with official priorities." On the surface, it sounds routine. But within the palace, alignment is often code for negotiated agreement, implying there had been previous divergence. The lack of the word unity, used in multiple past statements, caught attention. There was also no mention of Princess Catherine or their children, a striking omission for such a visible royal family. Perhaps most interestingly, the statement avoided referencing succession or long-term vision, terms that often accompany updates involving the heir. That absence, paired with the urgency of the midnight meeting, led some commentators to believe the palace was actively managing narrative control. It wasn't about revealing the whole story. It was about keeping speculation from spiraling. In that sense, the statement worked. It kept things calm, but it also made people look closer. And look closer they did. Within hours, analysts and fans alike began connecting the dots. William's words, Charles's recent decisions, and the silence that followed. Section 4 dives into why this meeting, this moment, and this message felt different. Because when the heir to the throne holds a midnight summit with the king, it's never just about logistics. Why this meeting was newsworthy. A private meeting between Prince William and King Charles III would normally go unnoticed. But this one was different, and everyone in royal circles knew it. The fact that it took place after hours, off the books, and required a formal statement from Buckingham Palace the next morning signaled that this was no routine family check-in. Instead, it appeared to be a moment of real consequence, both personally and politically. The meeting followed a string of subtle tensions reported over the previous 8 weeks. In late September 2025, Prince William made headlines after giving a speech at a climate summit in Berlin, where his remarks about modern monarchy meeting modern expectations were widely interpreted as a nudge at palace tradition. Geo News and other royal correspondents suggested that Charles saw this as a sign William was pushing forward too fast, especially as royal health and succession conversations grew louder. This is why the midnight meeting was a bombshell, not just because of the content, but because of what it exposed. That father and son may no longer be fully aligned on how the royal machine should run. Charles, 76, is still actively recovering from ongoing cancer treatment, while William, 43, has taken on increasing responsibility in 2025. According to insiders, that shift in momentum has created moments of behind-the-scenes disagreement, not over if William will lead, but over how soon and how differently. The palace's sudden statement, then, wasn't just about informing the public. It was damage control. Rumors had already begun circling by the morning of November 12th, with tabloids suggesting Charles may have felt blindsided by William's recent solo initiatives. This preemptive announcement was a way to hold the line, showing control, unity, and order, even if it was paper-thin. Transition, approximately 80 words. But all royal drama eventually boils down to people and relationships. As the public digested this midnight summit, the spotlight turned to one of the most complex and fascinating dynamics in royal history: the evolving bond between King Charles and his heir, Prince William. In the next section, we unpack the quiet history of tension, trust, and transition that shaped this moment, and why royal watchers say it's never just business between father and son. A royal relationship under scrutiny. The relationship between King Charles III and Prince William has always drawn public interest, but rarely has it been under such intense scrutiny. Outwardly, the pair have appeared close. They've shared official stages, co-signed royal initiatives, and spoken warmly of one another in interviews. But insiders say the picture behind palace walls is far more layered, especially since Queen Elizabeth II's passing in 2022, which redefined their roles forever. During that transition, William stepped into the position of Prince of Wales and became Duke of Cornwall, taking on dozens of new responsibilities almost overnight. The early days of 2023 were described as smooth, with William quickly adapting to duties. But by mid-2024, subtle fractures began to appear. Sources told Geo News that William's desire for a faster pace of modernization, including less rigid protocol and more transparency, didn't always align with Charles's more cautious, tradition-focused style. Some tensions even spilled into public. In June 2025, during a charity event in Edinburgh, William's off-the-cuff remark about the new generation driving change was viewed by some commentators as a slight toward the slower-moving Buckingham model. Days later, Charles made a point to appear solo at a major veterans event, without William. The timing didn't go unnoticed. Behind the scenes, palace aides reportedly worked hard to smooth over rifts, encouraging scheduled joint appearances and shared initiatives. But moments like the November 11th midnight meeting show that not all friction has been resolved. Royal experts now believe these private sessions are as much about emotional navigation as they are about logistics. When William and Charles meet without staff, it means they're not just talking duty. They're talking legacy. While the personal tension simmers beneath the surface, public pressure continues to rise. After a year filled with health scares, scandals, and an increasingly visible heir, The public is watching the palace closer than ever. So why did the timing of this meeting and the rare statement that followed hit with such force? In the next section, we break down the external factors, media attention, and political timing that made this moment matter even more. Palace pressure and public expectations. Timing is everything in royal life, and this meeting between Prince William and King Charles III came at a moment packed with pressure. In the last 3 months, the monarchy has faced an intense mix of media scrutiny, health concerns, and shifting public expectations. Charles has pulled back from several high-profile events due to his ongoing cancer treatment, and Queen Camilla has quietly taken on more duties. All while William has stepped increasingly into the spotlight. By October 2025, royal watchers noted that William had appeared at 14 solo engagements in just 6 weeks, including visits to New York, Northern Ireland, and the Middle East. That level of visibility made many wonder if the palace was testing public appetite for a more active heir. But that attention brought risk. Some in the media began speculating that William was outshining Charles, a dangerous narrative for a monarchy built on continuity. Add to that a growing online campaign from younger royal fans urging new energy for the crown. Hashtags like #NextGenMonarchy and #ModernWales trended on TikTok and X following William's major speech in Geneva. Analysts believe the royal household saw this as both an opportunity and a warning. Go too fast and risk destabilizing tradition. Move too slow and lose public momentum. That's why this meeting and the subsequent palace statement arrived at such a critical time. It wasn't just about internal alignment, it was about perception. The public had to be reassured that the monarchy was coordinated, stable, and unified. The statement's bland tone was no accident. It was designed to lower the temperature, while everything behind the scenes was heating up. But what are palace insiders really saying now? Is this just about strategy or something deeper? In the next section, we go behind the curtain to explore what unnamed sources and seasoned royal reporters believe truly triggered this urgent summit, and how much control the king really has over an heir who's stepping forward, faster than expected. What insiders are saying behind the scenes. While the palace may stick to carefully worded statements, royal insiders are painting a more revealing picture. According to multiple sources cited by GeoNews and the Daily Mail, the November 11, 2025 midnight meeting was prompted by growing tension over how the monarchy should evolve and who should be leading that charge. Some say King Charles III called the meeting. Others insist Prince William demanded it. But one fact is agreed upon: the tone was serious, not ceremonial. The debate reportedly centered around modernization efforts within the royal household. William has been pushing for streamlined roles, less pageantry and more digital engagement, while Charles remains loyal to the structure and symbolism inherited from his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The divide isn't personal, insiders claim, but ideological. "It's not a rift, it's two visions," said one former palace aide. "Both believe they're doing what's best for the crown." Others say the meeting was a strategic move by Charles to reassert control. With health issues sidelining him for large portions of 2025 and public attention shifting to William, palace insiders claim Charles feared his influence was waning. By calling a late-night unrecorded summit, he could reinforce expectations, particularly about how far William is allowed to go without consultation. According to BBC sources, this was a reset moment. What's most telling is that both camps immediately agreed to issue a statement the next morning. That's rare, and suggests the conversation, however tense, ended with some form of agreement. But make no mistake, behind the palace gates, the balance of power is shifting. And those watching closely say this is the clearest sign yet that succession planning is no longer a quiet background process. It's already in motion. As palace insiders whispered and reporters dug deeper, the outside world was already reacting. Across social media and international headlines, the public took notice, not just of the statement, but of its timing, tone, and implications. In the next section, we explore how online audiences, royal commentators, and everyday watchers responded, and how one late-night decision sparked a digital firestorm. Social media and public reaction exploded. The moment the palace statement dropped at 6:45 a.m. on November 12, 2025, the internet exploded. Hashtags like William and Charles, Midnight Meeting, and Modern Monarchy began trending on X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube within hours. Over 30,000 tweets were posted in the first 24 hours, with fans, critics, and royal watchers analyzing every word. Some praised the palace for transparency, others smelled trouble. On TikTok, creators began stitching clips of recent appearances, showing William stepping up at events where King Charles had been absent due to illness. One popular video, viewed over 2.5 million times, showed side-by-side footage of William meeting with international leaders, with the caption, "Who's already acting like king?" The public wasn't just reading between the lines, they were forming their own narrative. Major outlets like The Guardian, Sky News, and CNN picked up on the online momentum. Some framed the statement as a sign of royal unity during transition, while others took a more dramatic tone, calling it the clearest indication yet that the throne is preparing for change. Royal biographers interviewed on air echoed these sentiments, with one stating, "The monarchy is evolving in real time, and the public can feel it." Interestingly, public sentiment was not just about intrigue, there was also empathy. Many comments expressed concern over King Charles's health, with fans urging the monarchy to ease the load. Others voiced support for Prince William, viewing him as a calm, capable figure ready to take on more. The reaction was emotional, personal, and highly engaged, proof that the world is watching not just the monarchy's moves, but its heartbeat. But beneath the public speculation lies a much deeper question. Is this moment a pause or a pivot? In Section 9, we explore whether this statement marked the beginning of a real shift in royal power, what succession talk means in practice, and whether William's increasing visibility is a quiet coronation in motion. Will this change royal dynamics forever? If this was just a scheduling update, it wouldn't have caused a global ripple. But royal analysts are now calling the November 2025 meeting and statement a possible turning point in the institution's modern history. For months, Prince William has been rising, not just in visibility, but in influence. And some experts believe the palace is no longer just managing the public. It's preparing them for something bigger. Sources at The Telegraph and Marie Claire UK note that William's workload in Q4 2025 surpassed even that of the king, a first since the beginning of Charles's reign in 2022. From major international summits to charitable milestones, William has been the face of the firm more often than anyone else. Now, insiders believe that wasn't coincidence. It was choreography, a test run dressed as duty. At the same time, palace aides have reportedly begun briefing long-term partners on future-facing royal priorities, language that hints at transition without declaring it. One royal source told The Times, "This isn't abdication talk, but it is succession strategy. The palace knows the public responds well to William, and they're managing that rise very, very carefully. No drama, no shocks, just a slow, calculated handover in the court of public opinion. So will this change the monarchy forever? Possibly. At the very least, it shifts expectations. For the first time since Charles's coronation in May 2023, the public is being asked to look ahead, not just at the king, but at the king in waiting. And thanks to this rare meeting and the perfectly timed palace statement, that future now feels a little more immediate. Now, attention turns to the palace's next moves and William's next steps. Will the pace slow down, or is this only the beginning? In our final section, we look ahead, at the statements still to come, the duties quietly shifting, and how a single night behind closed doors may have changed the monarchy's future forever. What happens next for William and the palace? As of mid-December 2025, there's been no second statement from the palace, but insiders say more clarification may come in the new year. Royal reporters are already anticipating another wave of updates in January 2026, when William is expected to begin a new slate of engagements, possibly without the king's usual presence. That move alone would send a message, without a single word. Palace officials have also been quietly coordinating with foreign dignitaries ahead of spring 2026 state visits. While King Charles is still listed on internal calendars, sources claim Prince William may lead more of them than ever before. If so, it would mark the beginning of a subtle role shift, the heir moving from support act to headline. In the meantime, public expectation is rising. Every step William takes will be dissected. Every event he attends without Charles will fuel the conversation. Analysts say the royal family is now living in what they call a dual era, where two kings exist at once, one reigning, one rising. That's never easy. But for a monarchy built on continuity, it's not unusual. It's just rarely this public. One thing is clear. The November 11th midnight meeting wasn't just a talk. It was a marker in royal time, a sign that the institution knows it must evolve, that the future is coming faster than expected, and that, when it does, Prince William won't be stepping into the unknown. He'll be stepping into a role he's already been quietly preparing for years. The palace may have hoped this rare statement would ease speculation, but in many ways, it's done the opposite. The timing, the secrecy, and the deliberate choice of words have only deepened public interest. With Prince William's schedule expanding and King Charles facing ongoing health challenges, the question isn't just about a single meeting. It's about what the monarchy is preparing for next. Is this the start of a gradual transition of power? Or simply a moment of strategy between a father and son balancing duty and legacy? One thing is certain. The public is watching more closely than ever before. Every statement, every silence, every move is being interpreted. And in the world of royalty, when late-night meetings are followed by morning press releases, it usually means change is in the air. What comes next could define the next era of the British monarchy. Stay ready.